hanging out with Terry out of Chicago. He took both Chi and Yoruba with me, and he just decided to move to Ethiopia. Never been there before, up and went. He's there now, and he hated it because he said the people in Ethiopia think they're better than everybody. They say they Habasha, they've never been colonized before. They look down on other folks, even if other continental Africans come, they say, "Oh, are you coming from Africa?" As though they're not in Africa. No, we're Habasha. So he can't stand it. And for me, all the stuff that he was saying, it sounded similar to what many diasporans here in Ghana say about the Asantes or anybody else, Airways or whoever. So, even as he was saying, he was like, "Yeah, I want to look into Ghana." I'm like, "You got to change your mindset because you're going to come to Ghana, you're going to be very disappointed." And I know so many folks who look at all these folks. Where is the color in this? There's a brother here. There's a brother up there, maybe. Then you got the black folks. These are my folks. Stuck in the middle somewhere. They sandwiched up. They in the Oreo cookie reverse. My folks. And then you do see, right, some of these other ones, but this is more of a historical one than a religious one. So some of these are the ones that we think of when we think of this, but again, some of these aren't as old as the ones that they pat themselves on the back for, like, "Yo, we've been Christians since forever." And again, that was the explanation that the first apostles who brought Christianity were from these white-skinned folks, Greeks and whatever else, Roman stock. So they decided to do the images like that.
So whereas they might use these images and the dates to justify or try to authenticate this foreign religion, I understand you to be saying, and my takeaway is that, no, this shows you how old colonization is, and the ways in which they were colonized. That they won the military war, but they didn't win the psychological war.
That's it. So if we ever want to get free, we have to start getting into what were we doing before that. Just want to tan around the edges. The face, look at the nose though. Just don't, you gotta look at these things. Because if I compare that to my images from Kemet and how we depicted ourselves in Kemet, these folks ain't looking too black. This one here, all right, but look at this. And literally these images are falling apart. This is how old they are. This is the one that was in the inset. I think that's enough looking at white folks. We're here to look at black folks. But I have quite a few images from Ethiopia. But this was what we were looking for initially, which was the oldest one. In what we call modern day Egypt.
And it was not in Emperor Selassie's room.
No, that one wasn't there. They didn't have that one there.
We saw the one that was there and it weren't that one.
Right. But yeah, if you just do a search for the earliest or oldest picture of Jesus, then you'll see all of these ones. And a brother who just left, a brother named Mac, he came to the Kwanzaa. He brought me all these stickers, and so there's one downstairs, I don't know if somebody tore it down yet, of this black image. And I want to send something out to the whole university listserv saying we got all these stickers and posters not for sale, for free. So just come and pick it up. Yes, see how they had it. Yeah, they already know what I'm about now. I'm no longer undercover, so I might as well just, roll with that.
Did he tell you about the book as well?
Which book?
Is it 3.5 million? The name of the book, the priestess that he was talking about, had written. And it's giving you the history of Kwame Nkrumah.
Okay.
And that he was not really a Ghanaian. He can trace his origin back to Ghana. It's in this book.
To ancient Ghana?
That's the name of the book, Ancient Ghana?
No, that's not the name of the book. It's 3.5 million years or something. Yeah.
Okay.
That he was interesting.
No, he didn't mention that to me, but I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, because I got the book from Brother Robert Tipton.
I everybody's aware that the original name of Ghana was not Ghana, land of herds.
Land of birds,
Herds, H-E-R-D-S.
birds.
Right. So picture cattle, Fulani, right? All these folks who do the herding. And even when you look at something like the normal palette, if you look at the top of it, it has cattle on it. If you look at some of the oldest spiritual concepts associated with Heru, so-called Hathor, you can see that. Actually, when I was in Kemet, I got a picture of the normal palette. Some of these things I've only seen in like books before. I'm like, wow, this is my thing. And as you're there, you'll be like, give me my stuff back. All of our science and technology needs to be towards how do we reclaim the stuff that's stolen. But that time is coming too. In the meanwhile, here we are. This is an offering formula. Who is ready to transliterate and translate this? This is an original text. Do you have this document? No? Do you have a laptop or anything? All right, if you can bring that, I can give you the documents. Jadi jangan enggak.
I'm not.
What's the first thing we see here? Let's just deal with what we see first. It's like when you're doing a math problem. The easiest parts you solve those or doing a test. Get the easy ones.
Okay, well, one below it is the scroll.
First thing.
Oh, the first thing on the left.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Where do we start reading? Right to left or left to right?
We're gonna go from left to right.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go.
So what is this?
Jenny, we did this, you and I wrote this last week. So this is, okay, so let me first say that this is about an offering that's, where's our voice? A list of offerings that's being made on a funerary stele of an important person, the important person being a pharaoh. No, what's the word for pharaoh? Neseb?
Nesu.
Nesu. And it's a list of what's being given in the offering. Am I accurate? Okay. So, let's see. Okay, I'm almost there. Refer to my notes. Here we go. All right. So, an offering which the king gives Osiris, Lord of Jedu. So we have the Jedu is in there.
We want the Medunecha. So let's break it down. We gotta break it down from the top. What is this? What are we dealing with here? This should be familiar now.
Okay, so that is, okay, so the staff, the thing on the left, all the way on the left, the object, is a, what did you say it was? Was it a symbol of royalty?
Yes.
And
Not a staff, a plant.
yeah, okay, staff plant. So this is letting
No,
us know.
not a staff. It is a plant.
A plant, okay. And then, and from there we go to the top object.
Exactly.
And I think you said that top object represented Osiris?
No.
I know it's not bread, because remember the symbol that we wrote for bread, and then the one that we wrote for beer, and then,
This is a half loaf of bread. However, it's not to be understood as bread. It has a sound value, and it's tied to Nesu. This is what, do we know this?
That's the papyrus or the scroll. It's not a scroll?
No, this is an offering table with bread
an
on
offering
it.
table. Oh, okay. An offering, okay. So it's an offering which the king gives.
And what is the sound value of the offering?
The sound value is it G?
No.
G?
No.
D, how is D?
It's a triliteral, which means it has 3 consonants.
Three
And it's
consonants.
something that if somebody doesn't know anything about Kemet, they know this word.
Hatep?
Exactly.
Okay. Hatep, HTP.
Exactly. Hatep,
Hatep,
D,
Hatep D.
Nesu.
Nesu.
So this is the offering
Hatep
given
D,
by
Nesu.
Nesu. Okay.
Hatep D, Nesu.
What's this? Do we know the sound value of it? This circle.
The circle. Is it, let me see. Wait, I don't see the circle in.
That's it.
Okay,
Her.
okay.
So the offering that the king gives, or the ruler gives her, that's in front of, when you see this I and this,
Which one?
this
Is that is Osiris?
exactly. So Usia.
Osir?
So the offering that the ruler gives in front of or before Usia,
Osir.
what's this one? Y'all remember this?
This is what is that thing? I think that's the Jehu, right?
No.
That little sign, that symbol, that looks like a tower with 3 lines.
It should look like bottles all together.
Oh, bottles? Oh, the 3 bottles, like the 3 containers. Okay, so that's going to be the bread, the determinative for how with the house and the per, no?
You have to think about the foremost, someone who is in the front. Does everybody have a dictionary?
No, I think I'm the only one with
Let's say it first.
because we have the eye over the thing, that's Osiris.
Actually, I may have it up top here. This is what we're looking at here. So in the text, right here, so khant, and it has a connotation of being the first or foremost.
Oh, so would that be great God?
No,
That's
foremost.
Foremost?
Yeah, you can translate it as first or foremost. And this is one of the epithets of Osir, which is foremost of the Westerners. And we're going to come to the west part.
So it's not Lord or
Nope.
great God, it's something.
Nope.
It refers to Osir.
Yep. The first or foremost of the Westerners. So again, people were buried in the West, right?
Yes,
So when you say the foremost of the Westerners, this is the leader of all of the dead.
the dead, okay.
So in the face of, within, without, indoors. That's not what we're looking for though. Chamberlain.
I couldn't tell what that.
First, before, earlier, in front of, among, foremost, preeminent, and principal. Here's what we're looking at. This connotation, which is in front of, south, at the head of. It was interesting that the south is seen as being the front, because again, we know the orientation of Kemet, that south is up, right? But this is the concept we're looking for, all of these. First, before, in front of, foremost, preeminent, and that's what we're seeing on this. So it's a little bit obliterated here,
Okay.
but that's why we went to the dictionary so you can see what the paradigm looks like.
I see.
So, khant, this is the what?
That is eat the hawk.
Nope,
That bird, it's not the chick.
nope. Not check.
it's not it's a character that means a person,
Nope.
or is it a sound one?
It does have a sound value, but
Sound
it's
value.
a preposition.
Oh,
Remember, a preposition is anything you can do to a cloud. In, behind, above, under, all of those are prepositions. So we're looking for this one. And it has the same sound value and same meaning in Chi, same sound value, same meaning in the Bantu languages. In Baule, many other languages, it's still the same thing.
I have part of the picture, that's what I have.
This is an owl.
Okay, an owl, okay.
No. This is a tuber. Let me show you. This is a tuber. It is part of this kentiu. Let me show you.
Ka, an offering which the king gives, a voice offering for the
That's this
ka.
bird. Two. It's part of the kentiu. So Usia kentiu, and this is all the concept of to be in front or foremost. Then we come here. This is Imanet, which is west. So this is foremost of the Westerner. Do you have this in your notes? Everybody put this in your notes. You should be using this to write your Medunecha.
I'm looking at my notes here, and let's see, maybe it's on the next page.
You know.
Big.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Right there, all of this.
I need to write what you're saying it is that what you're
No,
saying?
right, transcribe, draw what you see, right?
I'd never draw that.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
You're an African, not an African.
Oh.
I'm gonna make
Well,
I don't even see that right.
you know.
Doctor, you know this not wow.
Well, so let's not get up. And for this one, it's obliterated, but you have to just know that this formula, you see this together all the time. So it would be like if your name is Carnita and you see you know it's your paper and the C is scratched out, you still know this is supposed to be the letter C. So it's just like Hatep Dinesu, you see this thousands and thousands on monuments after monuments. So even though it's obliterated here, you know this has to be Nesu. Hatep Dinesu. Right. This is Kentiu, the foremost Imanet. That's the Westerners. Let's look at Imanet here in the dictionary.
So I'm looking in our book, is it on page 41?
This is Imanet, the West. So foremost of those who are in the West. The Westerners. This is what we're looking for, and this is what you see here, the west. Imminent. Let me make that bigger so you can see it well. No, you're African. So this is the west, right? This is the emblem of the west, right? So just like today, people have flags and, you know, national birds and all this other stuff, that this is the emblem of the west. And that's what we see here. You recognize it?
Show it again.
Let's see it again.
So this is what we're looking for.
Okay.
This is west.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
This little thing here.
Okay, let me see.
Right.
Say, I'm
That's right. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
I like that. You said, she said, they say I'm African, so let me can do it.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it.
And here, this is obliterated, but based on seeing other stuff, I would think it would probably says Neb Jedu, and then here we see Abju. The reason why I'm saying that is because whenever we're talking about Usir, usually it talks about those two places. Neb, the Lord of Jedu. Remember we saw that when we were talking about transition. But here, this whole space has been obliterated, but we would interpret based on seeing thousands of other texts that most likely this has something to do with Jedu, may or may not be. But here we see very clearly, this is Ab, this is the both phonetic complement, this is J, Abju, Abju, this is Ju, and then this is the determinative for place. Sit, F, so in, and this, you see this one looks very similar to that one, but this is a two verb, this is This is what I thought it was. This one was originally, but it's not. This is a phonetic complement. This is Kin-Tiu, Imanet, so the foremost of the westerners. This one you can't see, but most likely Neb Jedu, Abju, Sit F, which is in place of his. So in his place. Nebet, Neferet. So, Nebet is everything, Neferet, beautiful. Wabet, and I'm going through it, but we'll go through it one by one so we can see what it is. This is Wabet, which is pure. So everything which is good or beautiful and pure. DF, give him. Peret Heru. What is Peret Heru?
House and
No. Peret Heru. You should remember this from last time, remember?
So per is to, but I thought per meant house.
Yes, it normally does,
Okay.
but not here.
Oh.
The Peret Im Heru is the book of coming forth or going forth by day.
Oh, okay.
You remember we were talking about voice offerings?
Yeah, your voice.
Right, that which goes out, right? So that's what we're dealing with here.
Okay.
Peret Heru, which are the voice offerings. So give him voice offerings. The Peret Heru. This is in. What's this?
Bread.
Exactly. To bread. This is again, so in bread. So it's like give it to me in 20s, give it to me in 10s, right?
Okay.
That's how you're going to give it to me in this currency or whatever. So it's in bread. What's this?
That's an H.
Right? So what's this whole? And you're going to combine different skills.
His? Is that the pronoun? No, it's not.
Do you remember the common offerings that we looked at before? You give bread, what else do you give?
Beer.
Exactly, that's what this is.
Oh,
Inket.
oh, okay.
Inket.
So,
And that's why I was saying that you're going to combine different skills, because for some you'll be like, all right, what's the sound value? For another, you can just remember, okay, I know that bread was one. Right after the bread, what was it? It was beer.
Beer.
And this is very common order that you give stuff in,
okay.
right?
Okay. Bread, beer. And there's
What's this?
3 many of something. That's that cattle or
Exactly.
oxen.
Ka.
Ka.
So in bread and beer and oxen or cattle, and then this is what?
Linen?
Nope.
Well, because that's what they said, bread, beer, and linen.
Right, but this isn't linen here.
Okay, it's not a linen sign. I was
This
just
is a
talking
beak.
about- Yes, yeah, that is a beak, sir.
Yes.
Is that the chick?
No.
It's not the chick?
Just the head of a bird.
Oh, fowl.
Yes.
Fowl.
Up in.
Fowl. Yeah, the
Right.
head of the bird.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. I can see that now.
Ket
So,
nebet in all things. Ket nebet neferet that are good. So give it to me in this, give it to me in that, give it to me in this, give it to me in all things that are good. Ket nebet neferet. What's this part?
in.
Right?
Oh, is that the 2 hens?
Yes.
Okay.
Touchdown. That's the ka.
Ka. Ka.
So to the ka of, this is Ima, the revered one. Right? So to the soul, or to the ka of the revered one, Ima. Right?
Ra?
No.
No?
It's the placenta.
Oh.
And normally in the stone carvings, you don't see the lines in the placenta. But in these types of offering formulas, you know the placenta comes on top of the mouth. Just like how we saw here, her is in front of or before.
Okay.
So do all this before Usia. So to the ka of the revered one, her in front of or before. It can also be translated sometimes as, actually let's just leave it like that. These are things that are being done before.
That's it's not a flag. It's a sacred symbol, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Netta. What about this?
That's the water. No, that's not the water flags. What's that little symbol thing that we drawn? Let's see. It's not a. I don't know what that is.
This is A'a, to be great. So in front of the great Necha, A'a. This is in. So so in the mouth of Musha, this is the overseer of the army. Musha. Or, this is the great, so the overseer of the great army.
And the 3 vertical things are.
This is plural, so when you're dealing with, or it can also be a mass noun, just like how we were talking about before. Instead of saying waters, you can say many, yeah, you can say many waters. You can say, look at all the water that I have. I have 20 bottles of water. I'm saying, oh, I'm bringing you water, because it's understood to be a mass noun, non-count noun. And let's see that Masha, so this is the army. Let's show you some of these as we're going. There we go. That's what we're looking at. So Msha is army or expedition to make an expedition. But this is what we're seeing. soldiers, army, infantry, gang of workmen.
And we're horizontal, what we saw on the stellate vertical.
Exactly.
Same thing, okay.
Same thing. All this is graphic considerations.
Also, the other one is the name of the person, Ketumentu, or something like that?
No, that's the foremost, the one who is the foremost of the Westerners.
Uh-huh.
So Kintiu
Yeah.
Imanet.
Kentumu, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Kentumu, wait, say it again?
Kintiu Imanet.
Okay, Kentu Imanet.
And this bird is notoriously hard to distinguish from other birds, but the way that you can notice the two bird is as coming after Kent, and this is a very common construction. So the two comes after Kent, it comes before Imanet, and you normally see it as foremost of the Westerners. So you can just memorize that complex, right? So even experts have a hard time. If you just see this bird without anything else, you may think it's another bird, but it's the two bird.
Blessed deceased.
Mhm. Do you have, so Msha, this is the army. So is in the mouth of Msha. So this is the one who is the overseer, the one who has the power to tell you what to do is the overseer of what? Msha, the army, or great. What's this?
E.
Good. What's this?
Oh, that is,
These three should start to become familiar to you. One of the most important deities of ancient Kemet, or modern Kemet.
is it not?
No.
Is that, I just, we were talking about it last week, and I can't pull it up.
This is a biliteral, has two consonants.
I'm like, way lost.
Emen. This is min. A game of sonnet min. And then this is a phonetic complement n again. So imeni. Ear, So do, of, or to. And then the rest starts to get muddled. You see the k, b, and then after that it starts to get muddled. Now one thing that I will tell you, and let's see if we can find out what this last ripped out portion is. I can't see what that would be, but what we can see is very clear here. What is this complex here? This may be grave. So then I'll look. But this part, what's this part here? After you say a name of somebody who's passed on, what do we say?
Late.
Someone who has passed on? Who did?
Good day.
Napilanywa. Chimadinachi.
These are off ones. I don't know.
Ma'akeru, true of voice. This is the ma. Ma'a is here. Ma'a. And keru, true of voice. And I want to see if we can find out what this part that's been obliterated is here. They call it lacuna or lacune. Anytime you have something that's been wiped out. And let's go back here. These are some of the words that we've seen. Come out this way. It should be at the end of chapter 3, I think. This is what I was saying before, the two bird, right? So, Kintimintu, this is a two bird, right? So depicted this way or that way. So it has a more rounded head, as it says, as you see below the name of the deity, Kintimintu. This way is a two bird, B5 long-legged buzzard, a sign which reads tu or tu. This book we should go for the simple reading tu. It looks similar to the ah bird. The two bird has a more rounded head. Often the two birds are very similar in writing. Sometimes we add a tick to the two bird to distinguish it. Fortunately, the two bird has a very restricted usage. This is what we saw in the Shah, Sit, Imanet, the west, Sig, place or position, Shah, soldier with bow and quiver. It is where we are. So we're looking at BMEA 162.
Which ones are we supposed to be writing?
We're going to go back to that same one. Here we go. And this is what the full thing looks like. Right? So what we just were given was this top one, but there's much more to it, right? And the study exercise that we were given is here. So let's see how we did. So this is what we have, Hatep Dinesu, that's right. An offering which the king gives or places. Her, that's before. Remember, that's what we were looking at. What looked like Ra, is we're looking at the transliteration here. What looked like Ra, but
What
it,
page is this?
this is page 164 to 165 on the document. And this is the answer key at the back.
Oh, okay.
So her, this is before Asir. Hint, Imintu. So Usir, which is the foremost of the Westerners, which is an epithet for Usir. Necha, A'a, Neb. So this is what was obliterated, and that's why it's in the square brackets. So they have it as what was most likely in that position was the great Necha, Neb, Lord of Abju, which they translate as Abydos, Sutef. So this is in places of his, so in his places. Nebet, which is all or every. Neferet, which is good. Wabet, pure. DF, which is literally give him, Peret Heru, so that he may give a voice offering. Remember, this is Peret Heru, voice offering. In bread, ket, beer, ka, in ox, aped, fowl, and then this is again. So in Het in the bet, Neferet in all good things, or everything good. Ka in for the Ka of Imahu, which is the revered one. Her Necha A'a before the great Necha. Shah. So they translate this as general in chief or overseer of the army. This is literally in the mouth of the army, the one who's in the mouth of the army. Or, and this is great. Or is great. That's the bird over the mouth. Or. Umini, that's the name Umini. Here, this is do of, do literally, but the idea is one who was made of or born of. Kebu, and then this is just a place name. That's the part that was scratched out there, but it's the name of the place. Ma'akeru, the justified, or as we prefer, true of voice. How's that?
Kebu, I'm not sama dëkk.
Ah,
Am na benn dëkk bu tudd Kebu. Am na sama benn yaay. ñu koy woowee nee naan Kebu. Because
Hey.
she's from Kebu, we call her nee naan Kebu. Moo tax from
Hey.
Kebu.
so there's a town in
Yeah.
this place called Kebu.
Kebu, yes.
That's the same name.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so I gotta go pick up my passport, so that's what we have time for. But what I want us to do is dissect that particular stela here on page 44 through 45 and look at all the individual parts. Because again, the way I was taught Medu Necha is the way my teacher was taught Medu Necha by Theophilo Benga, which is that you have to know the language inside out and be very thorough. It's not enough to just say, oh, I think it's, well, what are each of the individual parts? You should be able to identify the parts. Then from there you can, zoom out and see this is the overall meaning, this is the context, this is how it relates to African people. But just at a very basic level, we have to be able to look at this and know what this is. And before this, it gives you some of the major vocabulary that you need, right? So it gives you some of the signs that we see here. Shah, army, sit, place, Osir, set, position, or great, Amini, Kintimintu, right? One Nefer, this is another epithet of Osir. Right? Everybody okay? It will come with time, I understand. I see your face, I understand. For me, I did this in undergrad. This is what we're looking at. Kebu, this is what was scratched out. But Kebu, right? That's the name. And then this is what we're thinking was Ra, right? But it's her, which is before. And this is one thing that when you see this circle over the mouth, you know it's before or in front of. That was the translation that we gave. Yeah?
So what's the one with placenta and what the significance of that was?
So
I said raw, you said no placenta.
because that's what it is. That's what this particular sign is. It's a placenta.
Oh, okay.
You have actually two schools of thought. Some people follow Gardiner, who has the text Egyptian grammar, which is the most comprehensive grammar book, even though some parts of it are outdated, where he says that this sign is a placenta. Others say it's maybe a ball of string or yarn, but all of them give the same sound value as. Right? So in the offering formulas, we don't need to think that this is going to be Ra. We need to know that this is her.
The two together are always
Her, right, before or in front of. So I do this in front of Usir. I do this in front of the Nesu. I do this in front of, whatever, or whoever the deity may be.
Yes, and that expression, sir, my people, when they are speaking, mostly they use that expression. hoore mi inni, hoore mi waɗi, hoore mi wi'i. But you see, my people, they don't have the h. Most, for example, if Wolof is say hum, me, the Fulani, I can't say hum. I say, for example, when you talk about chakul, Wolof is say hum, Fulani is say kembu, because that I can't have that. But that help me, I can say that it is that hore, yeah, you always use it.
Lumutaki.
Lumutaki. Ci wetu. Wala ci kaw.
Ci kaw.
Waaw.
Ci wetu tam.
Wala ci kaw wala ci wetu. Te boo gisee tamit hiéroglyphe bi ni mu mel. Gis nga dañuy jël benn teg ci kaw benn. Gis nga li nga wax mooy rond bi tam am ay kiif yi ci biir. Mu ngi ci kaw daal.
Wala ci wetu.
am na yu bëri lu ñuy wax fii.
Waaw.
Man léegi damay toog xalaat dinañ laa ko mën andi.
xalaatal. baax na loolu.
yenn saa yi
waaw.
day sës yenn saa yi du ànd mais yenn saa yi day ànd.
waaw.
sol boobu gis naa ko fan yëpp maa ngi ciy xalaat.
waaw. war nga ko def. wutewul.
wutewul par exemple temps yi maa ngi gis moo bi ñuy wax sut. na sut mooy.
mooy tekki buur.
mooy tekki buur.
waaw.
léegi xam nga boo ñëwee ci léegi bu ñu koy def translation. day am buur moo gën a kawe.
waaw
moo sut nit.
waaw.
Wolof nee na moo sut.
waaw. mu sut.
buur bi moo sut nit.
waaw. ci buur waaw.
So then in looking at this table scene,
The offering.
So,
And this is exactly what we, just not to cut you off, but this is what we talk about in Africa: libations, sacrifice, everything. And like if you read, for example, the Odu Ifa, the whole thing is about libations. When you go to the temples, all on the walls, everything is about when the ruler made this sacrifice, when the ruler made this offering. Everything is centered around libation. Everything is centered around sacrifice. Well, go ahead.
so then as we're looking at this, the other picture that was on the other side, because this one has the actual meta that we were reading, but there was one that was more art, more like, this one. So this is the same thing that we just read, right? But it's in art form or whatever it's called.
This is different. This is an entirely different thing.
Okay.
What we saw down at the bottom of the book, close to the bottom of the book, is the full stela for this one.
Okay.
But that's
So
different
looking
from
at
this
that
one.
full stela then for that one, the one that we just got through working on,
Right.
we just rolled up from it. No, not there. No. This the one that looks like the picture with all of the stuff grouped together.
So this is what we just worked on. This is a
Uh-huh.
full stela of what we just worked on here.
Okay. So
So
there's
you
nothing
recognize
of a
the
person
text?
sitting down. The one we looked at was a drawing of someone sitting, but these two figures are standing.
This is what we just worked on, but we passed by other pictures along the way.
I see, okay,
But
that's where my
this is what
confusion-
we Hatat Dinesu, Her, Usir, Hintiu, Nanette, right, Kinmetu. And then here, what they gave is Neb Abju, which is the lord of Abydos. Sitef, in his place. Nebet, every or all. Neferet, this is beautiful. Wabet, pure, so they translated it as in all his good and pure places. TF, give him Peret Heru, voice offerings. Ta, in bread. Hinket, in beer. Ka, so in ox or oxen. Ape, so in fowl. Ket, so in thing. Nebet, every. Neferet, good, and every good thing. Ka, to the ka of Imau, which is the revered one. Her in front of Necha, the great Necha. Masha. They translated this as general in chief. This is overseer of the army, literally, or great. So it's like the great general.
And then
Oh,
that's the person.
Right, and then you have Mni, that's the person's name. And then we have ear, so made, ear is to do. This is of. Then you have kebu. This part is a bit obscured, but that's what the full thing is. Kebu, ma'a, keru, so true, a voice. And that's what we dealt with. But of course we see that there's more than that here.
That goes along with that.
That goes along with that. That's just the top of the stela. Right.
Yeah, there's obviously, because in this part, you got the part that's gonna read vertically from top down.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the powerful and empowering thing is that as you get this, you go to Kemet, you're actually reading what's there. And I said when I first got there, I forgot that I read Medunecha. And I was looking on the side. I was like, how come they label this? Oh, what's I went on. I was like, oh shoot. It is labeled. I could just read what the thing is. Because you know, some of the objects they have like a little write up. You know, this was discovered in 1820, whatever. It's this and this dynasty. So, oh, some of these aren't labeled. I was like, oh, yes, they are. And it's very powerful to just read the thing itself, right? And especially on somebody's offering. And again, so much of what you will read is dealing with offerings. You measure history in terms of what the offering was. You know, either the offering before you went to battle, the offering after, you know, you became the ruler, so just about everything is tied with the connection to the divine, the family reunion, those you see, those you can't see. So you mark in history in terms of, oh, we had another family reunion on account of this. All right, we had to do another, you know, family reunion on account of that. Oh, I need to get this, so therefore, come on, everybody, let's come deliberate. Those who you can see, those who you can't see, let's sit down at the table and make these offerings. And again, it's something that you see in various African cultures, that the way you mark time, the way you understand things is in relation to this. Again, like the whole Odu Ifa, just about every single verse is talking about this person was told, they had a problem, they were told to make an offering, then they either decided to do it or not do it. If they decided to do it, things went well. If they decided to not do it, that's what happened to them. So it's a similar worldview that you see in all these things. And a lot of it is again centered on libation and sacrifice. And I was mentioning before in a previous class that I want to do a paper showing that libation and sacrifice are part of the same thing, right? In the sense of what you don't take in for yourself is what you are making sure that the ancestors, first off, the ancestors are the descendants are the ancestors. All of us are recycled material. Energy isn't created or destroyed. Just transform. So once you understand that, you can say, all right, here's a seed. I can either ingest it and get the benefits for myself, or I can plant it along. So that's your sacrifice, right? So you can see agriculture as the very first prototype of a sacrifice, as opposed to like cooked food. This is something that will grow, and your descendants will eat this coconut, you know, whatever. And then once you have made that sacrifice, how do you make sure it grows? No other way than pouring a libation on it. So this is water that you're pouring on top of it. And very literally, this is something that your ancestors will come back, you know, as descendants to partake in.
So as you're reading all of these stelae and beginning to see some patterns, I guess a mosaic, what are some things that you're coming away with in terms of the personality of these people?
African. Very African. Very much a concept, African worldview, and then concept of time that's also very intrinsically African. Not only in the sense that it originates with African people, but it's also beneficial to African people in the sense of understanding we're part of this continuous cycle. in the sense of making sure that you're not partaking of everything, that there's something left for those generations that are yet to come. It's like how you were talking about before in terms of being earth caretakers, right? Now, okay, we can do that, but part of the worldview with that is understanding that if you just consume, what will be left for the future generations? That's something that we've understood for the past 3 or 4 million years. But within the last 100 years, we've lost sight of that, which is why the lagoon that people tell me, and I can't believe them, they used to drink out of, is now filled with garbage and trash, and they defecate in it. Before they said this was a divine lagoon, there's a spirit of divinity in it. But as soon as you become a Christian, now you're no longer thinking about descendants. You're thinking about, let me just take up everything myself. But the idea of sacrifice is that if I take everything in myself, what will the future generations eat? So you see us in the Dogon granaries. The granary is where we store all the seeds for future generations. Now we could just say, let's have a big party, let's eat up all the seeds. Then next year, we're just sitting looking at each other. So it's a very practical and very sensible, all right, let's say that you try that. The last people who tried that, they don't have no children anymore because all of them are dead. The people who are going to survive are the ones who understand, this type of concept. So again, when you understand how you relate to all these things, you understand that you have a responsibility to keep this cycle going. Now what do you do to keep the cycle going? You make sure that there's some sacrifice, there's some seed that's planted for the next generation. Then you also help the seed to grow. And I was thinking about looking at libation and sacrifice as prototypically an agricultural thing. So we can trace the agricultural revolution, iron and all these things that were used to make agriculture. But also, we can also look at it as hunter-gatherers because they also sacrifice. If they come across berries or whatever, they don't eat every single berry on the bush, right? Even animals, if you got a lion, it's not going to say, let me kill every gazelle out there. And there's a story like that where the lion and the Adesua, which is a small bird, they're friends, they decide let's go get married. And they go off to a far village and they both, say, all right, we have our wives, we're going to get our wives. They, do all the rituals, they come back to their towns. Now to celebrate his marriage, the lion goes out to the forest and kills every animal he can see. Everything, with gazelles, the antelopes, the this, the that. And everybody claps for him and say, hey, great job, Jata, why I did, Jata? Jata is the same as in Sun Jata, like Mali, it means the same thing, Jata, right? In French, when you see the D-I, it's a J sound, so Sun Jata, and it's the J sound also here. So everybody claps, hey, Jata, why I did, you've done well. So he has a feast, a huge feast, and invites everybody in the town, come to my feast, and they clap for him. He does the same thing the next day. Every single animal he can come across, gets this one and he gets that one, kills this one, kills the buffalo, kills the elk, kills everything, and brings them back and has another huge feast. And everybody, hey! But what Adesua, the small songbird, was doing is he would go down to the riverside, get one worm for himself, get one worm for his wife, and come back. Everybody was laughing at Adesua. Hey, who Jimmy Anna? Like, are you foolish? Don't you see what your sibling Jata is doing? He's making a huge feast, but Adesua, he would just say nkiti, nkiti, which is small, little by little, and that's what he sings. Nkiti, 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 nkiti. So this went on, and the Jata kept doing this, but eventually all of the animals in the forest, they were like, hey, we need to move. So they all went far away. So now Jata went out hunting and he couldn't get anything. He went out hunting again the next day, he couldn't get anything. And everybody said, hey, Jata, Adain, Jata, what's going on? I said, and yes, it's nothing. I'll bring it. But all this time, Jata is going through all these trials and tribulations. Adesua is still going to the riverside. He's getting a worm for himself. He's getting a worm for his wife. And they're eating. Now, Jata, eventually, he starts to grow very slim, and then eventually, he dies. And the wife that he married has to come to Adesua who is still going to the riverside, and now he gets 3 worms. There's one for himself, one for his wife, and then one for the wife of Jata.